welcome back to the Monmouth Basketball Hawks Nest podcast. Tonight, you're stuck with me. Mark and I couldn't work it out this week. He's got a lot of stuff with coaching going on in school, and I have my own stuff going on, so it's been a little tough this year scheduling-wise. This is kind of a last-minute thing for me before I go away to the Poconos this weekend. I want to make sure that we cover the Manhattan series before I go, so I'm getting this done today. Monmouth gets a huge sweep over Manhattan at Riverdale, something we weren't really saying a few years ago. When we got into the MAAC and for a few years in the beginning, it was really rough. We could not get past Masciello and Manhattan. And finally, the last few years, we fared really well against them, and Monmouth has kind of dominated them recently. But getting 2 wins on the road at Manhattan versus a team that plays very physical, the refs are afraid to call fouls on them because they foul up and down the court. I mean, Manhattan averages about 20 fouls a game. I mean, they could get called for 40 or 50 fouls a game, but you can't call it on every possession. But they foul constantly, and that's what they've always done under Masciello, and they get away with it. So coming away with 2 road wins is a huge, huge deal for this team. And it's a big confidence boost going into the final weeks of the regular season here before Atlantic City. Monmouth wins game 1, 70-65. Malik and Pappas got it going early on to get Monmouth off to a quick 8-2 start. Chapu, Vaughn, and Ruddy contribute some points after that, with Pappas capping it off with a big 3. But Manhattan's Warren Williams went on a big run of his own and took the lead from Manhattan 22-21. Malik and Pappas kept the scoring going while Dion had a rough first half, but he did break that streak. Dion hitting a big 3-pointer right before the half. After that, Monmouth built a 48-35 lead, but then went on a run of 5 minutes where Manhattan just completely shut them down and kept them scoreless before Malik hit a big jumper right before that next media timeout to end the drought there. Manhattan kept Monmouth on another run of about 5 minutes, and there were a few streaks in this game where Monmouth just could not score. And, luckily they did hit some streaks and some spurts, but there were a couple 5-minute runs where Monmouth did not score in this game. And Manhattan did a great job on the defensive end. But in the end, Monmouth just had enough to get by. They got a little bit tight at the end. Monmouth did have that 13-point lead, got a little close at the end. They got it down to 4, Manhattan did. Miles Ruth makes a free throw to get to 70-65. Manhattan had 5 chances to score a basket on the last possession. 5 chances. I'm like, one of these is bound to go in. They kept shooting 3 after 3 after 3, kept getting the rebound. I'm like, at some point they're going to hit one, and they never did. This was a convincing win for Monmouth. Even though it got close at the end, the Hawks really did outplay the Jaspers most of the game until the very end. And it's a convincing win for Monmouth, which is something that is not often said for them against Manhattan. Typically, they're very close games, and it turned out being a close game. But it never really felt like Monmouth was going to lose this one, and it's a big win for them. Malik Martin with 18 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists on 7 of 14 shooting in 32 minutes. I mean, we are carrying the flag for Malik to be an all-MAAC player. He is at least worthy of third-team honor. I would say he's a second-team honor. Malik is doing everything for this team, stuffing the stat sheet. He's a Swiss Army knife for them. He is doing everything for this Monmouth team right now. And you see when guys like Dion and Pappas are struggling, he steps up. So Malik has been unreal. Nikkei Ruddy is Nikkei Ruddy now. 5.7 boards, assist and a block in this one. Played even better in the second game. But now he's up 26 minutes. Now he's showing who he really is and what he can do for this team. So excellent job by Ruddy this weekend, especially the second game. Miles Ruth, his minutes took a little bit of a hit over the weekend. He's still the starter, which I agree with. He hasn't been scoring the ball that much, but he has been running the point really, really well. 6 assists in this one. He had a steal, 3 rebounds. Free throw shooting didn't help him. He was 1 for 4 from the line, which almost cost us in this one. But, Miles is also a freshman. So we saw some big offensive bursts from him, and that's gone away a little bit. But he's still learning. He's still a young guy. And the way he's handling the point and contributing, even if he's not scoring, he still is one of the best assist man in the MAAC over the last month or so. And he's finding other ways to get involved. He's stealing the ball all over the place. He's setting guys up. Miles Ruth has been very good for this team. Even if he hasn't been scoring or getting as many minutes, he still has been very strong for this team. Pappas had a great game in this one, 14 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, a steal in 32 minutes. So it was another big game for him, just like Malik. When Dion's struggling sometimes, he's been through some wrist and ankle injuries all season. He's been battling it. And when he's not himself and he's not hot, Pappas has done a great job of stepping up, especially recently. 14 points in this one, another big game for Pappas. Hammond, tough first half, but got together in the second half. Still finished with 16 points, which seems like a joke for him because, he doesn't play great all weekend. And, he still had 16 points. I mean, there's not many guys that can struggle like he has and still put up 16, 17, 20 points in games where he struggled. So, it's a testament to Dion just finding a way to get in the stats, getting the scorebook there, and just keep playing no matter what his shot looks like that night. He just keeps doing it. Also had 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He played 38 minutes. So King played his stars a lot of minutes in this one. Didn't play the bench a whole lot. The bench only had 19 combined minutes from Foster, Vaughn, and Gobb. They had a little bit more from Chapu and McClary, but really after those two, the first 7 players, only 19 minutes to go around after that, which is not common for this team, but it seems like that rotation is there now. We know who the core 8 or 9 guys are now and kind of who's on the outside right now. And we knew that was going to happen. At some point, we weren't going to play 12, 13, 14 guys, so it was coming in. It's here now. We have a rotation now. Chapu, again, has been really good. 6 points, 3 assists, a steal in this one in 26 minutes. Really productive night for Sam. He is playing like the junior leader point guard that we need him to be. And trading off between him and Miles Ruth at the point has been a great tandem for Monmouth. It's really been working out. I like the way it is. I like Ruth being in the first team because he plays great defense on those guys. And Chapu is a mismatch on the second team. And he is proving that he is good enough to start on any team, most teams in the MAAC. But for this team, he's getting as many minutes, if not more minutes, than Ruth most nights. And I think it's just a better fit for him coming off the bench. I know he's fighting for that starting spot back, but for me, he's better off coming off the bench. And I really like what's happening with the backcourt right now. McClary, another solid game for him on defense. At 6 points, 2 boards, 2 assists to pad a stat sheet a little bit. Like I said, bench didn't get a whole lot of run in this one. On the Manhattan side, Warren Williams was a monster all weekend. He almost had 2 double-doubles. He was a beast the whole weekend. 16 points, 10 boards in this one. And Anthony Nelson had 14 points, 5 assists. Other than that, pretty quiet for the Jaspers overall. The scoring was kind of spread out. Monmouth shot at 47.1% from the field compared to Manhattan's 36.2%. Monmouth hit 33.3% of their threes. The free throws were not working out for Monmouth this weekend. It's an area they have to fix. They were hitting them early in the year. Now they are not hitting free throws. People talk about Manhattan being a tough place to shoot free throws. The depth perception can be a little bit off. We've always struggled there shooting free throws, it seems like, but they did not shoot it well this weekend from the free throw line. So they got lucky it wasn't as close of a game or they weren't down in the game. Rebounds were even in this one, so Monmouth did not get pushed around anyway on the boards, 39 up. And Monmouth had 21 assists in this one. So we heard a few weeks ago when Monmouth lost, and I think it was to Siena, and King Rice talked about not sharing the ball and guys doing what they want to do. Well, they certainly are sharing the ball right now. 21 assists for Monmouth in this one. That's the most I've seen on their stat sheet in a long time. They're doing a great job sharing the ball, making the extra pass. They're not forcing too many shots. They did have 17 turnovers in this one, so it wasn't a clean game. But, when Manhattan's fouling you the entire game and not getting called for it, take a few of those away from 17. That probably shouldn't have been there. It should have been fouls. Overall, it was a solid game for Monmouth. Top to bottom, there's not really much to complain about in this one. They held them away most of the game until the very end. And, they got to do a better job of closing them out. But with a coach like Masiello, they're going to come back. Certain teams are just going to come back, and you just got to weather the storm, and hopefully you get a win in the end, and they did in this one. Going to game 2, this was a little scary. This game was not easy on the eyes at all. A lot of missed shots, a lot of turnovers from the very beginning. Monmouth kind of slept-walked through the first 3 to 4 minutes. I mean, it seemed like every possession down the floor, these guys are tripping over themselves. I mean, they could barely get a shot off. I mean, they were dribbling the ball out of bounds. They were missing passes thrown right to them. And you're like, what is going on with this team right now? Like, we got to wake up a little bit. And they did. But this whole game was really difficult to watch. Warren Williams, like I talked about before, pushed us around for the first few minutes and got the Jaspers out to a 9-0 lead before Dion made a big shot before the first media timeout. Monmouth did get right back into the game, along with scoring from Pappas and Ruth and Hammond, McClary and Chapu. They all got it going for us. Chapu made a nice little play, scores a bucket, and kind of fakes he's run up court, steals the inbound pass, and gets another layup. So a quick 4-point turnaround for Chapu there. Really nice job by him in that game. That was an exciting play to watch. It shows he's pushing. He really wants that starting job back, and he's pushing for minutes, and he's doing a great job of it. Manhattan held scoreless, Monmouth scoreless for 3 minutes before the end one, and plus the free throw from Malik. Malik stopped that scoring streak. Manhattan then held Monmouth scoreless for another 4.5 minutes before Malik broke the streak again with a 3-pointer. So that was almost 8 minutes in a row and only 3 points from Monmouth during that 8-minute stretch. That's a problem. Again, Manhattan's defense is really good. But if you go into a MAAC tournament game with an 8-minute streak of only 3 points, it's going to be tough to come away with a win in that one. So it's definitely something Monmouth has to address. When they go a couple minutes without scoring, they got to find a way to get a quick bucket, because 8 minutes without scoring is going to be really tough to beat anybody. And at that point, Monmouth trailed 25-16 to Manhattan. Monmouth locked it down the last few minutes of the half. Got a big three from Pappas. McClary made a big shot. Some free throws from Malik helped the Hawks get right back in the game, and only trailed 32-28 at the half, which I thought was very lucky considering the way we played. It did not feel like we were down 4 points, but you know what? Manhattan played ugly too, so neither team really played great in the first half. It was a rough half for Dion. He only had a couple points. Really rough half for him. Miles Ruth got after it early in the second half, a couple of free throws, and a steal that led to an easy basket. He got himself going a little bit there. Then Ruddy got hot again. A couple of layups and made dunk. Again, he was in beast mode in this one. I'll tell you his stats later on in the podcast. But Ruddy was a monster in this game, and it's what we need from him going into the MAAC tournament. Pappas had a big three at the 11:52 mark to get Monmouth their first lead of the game. And with 6:01 left in the game, Dion hits an off-balance three-pointer and breaks the all-time three-point record for a career at Monmouth. What a moment for Dion Hammond. And, it just shows this guy's work ethic. He has improved every year he has been at Monmouth. His shot's gotten better. His defense has gotten better. His leadership has gotten better. And to break that record by Dave Calloway that stood for a long, long time, even Justin didn't break it. It's amazing what Dion has accomplished here. It's really a huge, huge accomplishment for him. So we congratulate Dion. And it was kind of ironic. Kane even talked about it in the presser a little bit. It was so ironic because all night Dion had wide open shots and good shots. He wasn't forcing them, and he just couldn't buy a basket. There was a lid on the rim, and the one he hits, he's off balance and just wasn't a good shot at all. And that's the one that goes in for the three. So, an ironic moment, but a great moment for Dion Hammond. We congratulate him on a huge accomplishment and a groundbreaking one at Monmouth. And that got Monmouth to a 10-point lead. They led 58-48 at that point, but Manhattan got it right back at that point. Back-to-back threes within a minute for Elijah Buchanan to cut the lead back to 4. Things got a little tight there. Monmouth and Manhattan started trading baskets, and eventually the game was tied at 62 with 14 seconds left. And Malik fouls Samba Diallo for an and-one plus the free throw to tie the game. So now we have 14 seconds on the clock. So you think, who's getting the ball? You always think about this in end-game scenarios. Who gets the ball here? So option one, Dion Hammond. I'll take Dion Hammond going one-on-one, pressure in his face against anyone as my first option. Didn't go to him. You talk about Malik Martin. He's been hot from 3. I don't know if I love him taking the last shot because he's a little turnover prone at times, but I'm comfortable with Malik taking that there. You talk about Miles Ruth maybe. He gets open in space, hits a running shot. You talk about Totley, who we'll get into in a minute, was not available for this game to take the shot. You talk about Pappas, lethal three-point shooter, not bad going to the basket. But no, Marcus McClary gets the last shot of the game. And it seemed like that play was drawn up because he had a lot of time to shoot that ball and dribble a little bit. And it seemed like he was taking that shot all the way. And it was a good shot. He got to the elbow, hit a decent shot, and it just rimmed out a little bit. And it was a good shot, but, not the guy particularly I would want drawing up a play for that. I know he hit a big shot a couple weeks ago to send a game into overtime at home when Malik hit him from the half-court spot, and he hit that little 12-footer. I know he's hit big shots for us, but I don't know if I'm particularly drawing up a play for Marcus there. But you know what? It almost went in. And if it does go in, you're a hero. So, it's hard to second-guess it. I just don't love the call, but either way, it didn't matter because they win it in overtime. Anthony Nelson and Dion traded baskets to start OT. Pappas makes a couple free throws. Williams misses one of his, and Malik bangs a huge three, which leads to a 4-point lead for the Hawks. After a couple Pappas free throws, Williams makes a layup to cut it 2, and Elijah Buchanan had a clean look at the basket to end the game. It just rims out, which kind of, my heart sank into my stomach for a minute thinking it was going in. But Monmouth snuck away with another huge win in this one for the sweep at Riverdale. Again, not something we would have thought coming into the season. Manhattan's a good team led by a great coach. And the fact that we got away with a win here and a sweep is huge for this program. So Dion in this game, despite hitting the big three-pointer to break the record for Monmouth, he had 15 points, but on 1 of 11 shooting on three-pointers and 4 of 18 from the field. He really, really had a rough night, but in the end, he did what it took in the second half. He hit his free throws to get the job done, hit a couple more shots in space, and Dion did what it took. He had a couple rundown blocks in this game, and he played 37 minutes. He played 38 the night before. He played 75 minutes in 2 nights. That's a lot of time. So it's hard to blame him for going 1 for 11 from 3. You don't have your legs under you at that point. And he's still kind of recovering from an injury and playing through it. So you can't blame Dion for having a rough night. But in the end, guess what? 15 points. So it's kind of hard to knock Dion for anything right now. He's putting up numbers no matter what. Nikkei Ruddy, 7 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Ruddy was an absolute beast in this one. And if he can play that way against some of the better bigs in the MAAC in Atlantic City in a few weeks, Mama's going to be in really good shape. Because when we played at Siena and some of these other teams we've lost to, St. Peter's, Ruddy was not ready yet. He was still recovering from an injury that he was a month or 2 ahead of schedule. He probably needed a little more time to sit, but I'm glad he played those games because now he's in game shape. He's ready to go. And he is the beast that we expected him to be, even more so. He's playing better than I think I even expected him to play coming into the year healthy. I mean, he is on another level than he even was last year. And what he's doing is unbelievable. So now when we play against the bigs in the MAAC, like the guy at Nadefo at St. Peter's and Stormo at Siena, I mean, he's going to be ready for those guys this time around. He is not going to get pushed around. He is playing on beast mode right now. Malik Martin, another big night, another double-double, 14 points, 10 boards, 3 assists, a steal, a block. It seems like the entire stat sheet is filled every night with Malik going all the way across. Some guys, Chapu and, some of these guys, they don't always get a lot of rebounds, and you're not expecting Jarvis Vaughn to get a lot of assists just based on your position. But Malik, it doesn't even matter. He, all the way across the stat sheet, every time I look at it, it's filled with something. He's always doing something out there. Another big night for him in 35 minutes. Pappas played 36 in this one. He was 2 of 5 from 3, 12 points, 6 boards. Another nice night for him in double digits. Miles Ruth got a little bit back together in this one. Miles Ruth had 6 points, 2 steals in 12 minutes. He did have 3 turnovers. The turnovers and the free throws, something he's got to cut down on. But again, he's a freshman. He's young. He's going to get better with that. He's in high-pressure games now. We're not playing Hofstra in the beginning or Canisius or some of these lower teams. Now we're playing some of the better teams and tougher teams, and he's got to learn, these are tough spots to be in, and he will learn from it. He's not going to turn the ball over like that every time. He's not going to miss free throws anymore. He's going to learn from all this, and he's going to be fine. But overall, a productive night for him. Chapu, same thing. 4 points, didn't score a lot, but he had 4 steals, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds. Chapu is doing the same thing when he's not scoring. And again, his job is not to score. So, Chapu is doing everything we need him to do, along with Miles Ruth. They are true point guards right now. They're doing what a true point guard does, and that's lead the offense and cause chaos on defense. They're doing a great job of it, the both of them. McClary, another nice night, 11 points, 6 boards in 22 minutes. I mean, the dude just hits open inside shots and gets to the basket. He's just doing a great job right now. I can't say enough about Marcus McClary and how his offensive game has developed. It's something we've highlighted on this podcast a lot. But his offense from the middle of his sophomore year until now, it has improved more than I think any player that I've seen in the last 10 years at Monmouth. I have not seen another player's offensive game develop like his was, because his was negative. Like he could not score, and you didn't trust him for a second with the ball in his hands until the middle of his sophomore year when he starts banging threes against Iona, and you're like, oh, this guy's got a little bit of offensive game here. Great, he's not just a defender. And now he is a great all-around player and a really, really just a glue piece for this team. Marcus McClary is doing awesome for this team right now. Gob had a rough one. Gob Gabriel had a rough one. 12 minutes, 0 points, and 4 turnovers. The problem with Gob right now is I think he wants so badly to contribute, and he forces everything. It's pretty rare that Gob is open for any of his shots. He's trying to force it, and he's trying to drive the basket, and he's turning the ball over a lot. And, it's tough to trust him in the game right now. And again, he's a young guy. He's only a sophomore, but he's going to get better. He's just got to slow down. And, we said that about Malik last year. Sometimes you just got to slow the game down, let it come to you. And I think right now that's all Gob is right now. He's just trying to force too much, and he wants to contribute so badly and get more minutes. And it just hasn't worked out for him yet. But it will in time. Gob's going to be fine. But, it was a little concerning, the 4 turnovers in 12 minutes. It's definitely not what you want from you guys coming off the bench. The rest of the bench, Foster, Vaughn, and Holmstrom, only 10 minutes and 2 points in this one. So like we said, King really shortened the rotation. I think Vaughn is getting back into game shape. I think he's getting ready to be more productive. I do think that he will get more minutes soon, the better he plays. He hit a nice jumper in this one. He played good defense in this one. I think Vaughn will be getting more minutes soon. And I think Foster will too. I think Foster this year, King said he's getting into better shape. And when he's out there, he's productive. He always plays pretty well when he's out there. He's just not ready to take on a 15 to 20-minute role with his conditioning just yet. But he is getting better. And Holmstrom, it's going to be tough for him to get minutes this year. We kind of saw that coming into the year. I think he's a nice player. I think he's going to be productive for us in the future. But again, it's tough to get minutes, and it's a guard-heavy team. So, Holmstrom just has to be patient and just wait for his minutes. They're coming. It's just, it's not ready with this team just yet. Williams from Manhattan dominated again with 20 points, 9 rebounds, almost a second double-double of the weekend. He really pushed us around all weekend. He was a beast against us, and I'm hoping not to see him in the MAAC tournament. Buchanan had 16 points, Nelson 11. But another story from this one, where was Donovan Totley? We really didn't get into it a lot in the press conference. It wasn't really touched on very much. Kane basically said he's going to be back with us soon, so it's kind of confusing. We don't really know what's happening. He's had a lot of off-the-court issues. He's already been in trouble a couple times this year. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know where he's been, what he's doing to get himself into trouble. You just have to hope that this guy gets it together, because I'll tell you what, we're running out of games. We're running out of games for him to get it together. And, we are 3 series away from Atlantic City. We have this week off and then 3 more series for him to figure it out. And he is the X factor. Make no mistake about it. If we are going to beat Siena and St. Peter's and Marist and Iona up down in Atlantic City, Totley needs to be Totley. He needs to go out there and be productive and cause chaos for the defense and hit some big shots. And we're running out of time for him to be productive. And he has been productive when he's been out there, but he still hasn't completely gelled with this team, which we thought would happen by now. But, he is very important. He's a very important piece to the puzzle in trying to win down in Atlantic City. And if he's not available, I still think we are one of the best teams down there. With him scoring and playing his best ball, I think Monmouth is the best team in the MAAC. I think we are better than Siena when Totally is Totally. I think we are very close with Siena and St. Peter's when we don't have Totally. But I really think we are the best team in the conference if Totally is hitting, if Pappas is hitting, Malik and Dion and Ruth and Sam and Ruddy, all these guys, and McClary. I don't think there's a better team in the MAAC. I really don't. But we do need Totally to be Totally and be productive for this team. So hopefully he gets it together because we're running out of time here. Field goal percentages were ugly in this one, both under 37%. Monmouth shot at only 23% from three and 67% from the line. The rebounds were about even, so it was a good sign we didn't get pushed around the boards all weekend like we typically do against Manhattan. Monmouth had 11 steals and 8 blocks in this one, so the defense really came out strong. 11 steals, 8 blocks is a nice number to see on there. And they only had 12 turnovers. So for the most part, Monmouth did take care of the ball in this one, and that's the number you want to see. For me, the number's around 12, 13. That's the most turnovers I want to give up. So 12 is a nice number. I'm cool with that because things are going to happen throughout a game, and teams are going to play good defense. Teams like Manhattan, Siena, and St. Peter's are going to get away with murder, hand checking and fouling you the whole game. So 12 turnovers, I'll take that every time. Monmouth's schedule coming up. Monmouth is 10-5, 10-4 in the MAAC. They're at Iona next weekend. So this weekend, there will be no game. I was kind of worried about that, being that I'll be in the Poconos. So I was hoping I wouldn't miss it. I got lucky with the rescheduling. They're at Iona February 19th and the 20th. For the 19th, they will be on ESPNU. I'm praying that is not a 9 o'clock game. I don't want that again. Hopefully it's a 7 o'clock game. After that, we play Fairfield at home. 2 games they got to have. For me, I'm hoping they at least split at Iona. I know Patino is going to have his kids ready to go, and they are going to be so pumped to get back in the basketball court. It's going to be very, very difficult to sweep them. Similar in the beginning of the year with Siena, we got them right off of a COVID pause. I was thinking we should at least split with them, maybe sweep them. They're not ready. Well, we found out the hard way that they were ready, and they were so excited to play basketball, and it hurt us bad in the end, and we got swept. So hopefully Monmouth is ready for these guys. They're going to be ready, and you at least split at Iona. And then Fairfield, you need to sweep them at home. Fairfield is one of the worst teams in the conference. They have some young talent, but overall, Fairfield is not a very good team. So you need to sweep Fairfield at home. So if you get 3 wins there, you're 13-6. All right, you're in a good spot. 13-5. And then you get Ryder on the road. Again, not a typical Ryder team. Hopefully you at least split to get to 14-6, and maybe you sweep and get to 15-5, and you're looking at most likely first place in the MAAC. So, the 1 seed is definitely in reach because all these other teams are on pause now for COVID. Siena is on pause. Niagara is on pause. Marist on pause. I mean, most of these teams behind Monmouth are all paused right now. So, the rule is this year, the most wins the conference. So right now, Monmouth is 2 games up, and they're in a very good spot to do that. You look down the standings. Siena's 8-2, Marist 7-7, St. Peter 6-4, Niagara 6-8. You have a jumble in the middle of Ryder, Fairfield, and Manhattan at 4-8. Canisius is 3-3, Quinnipiac 3-5, and Iona's 3-1, and they're in last place because they have the least wins and they've played the least games. So, to me, I am hoping Iona is not in that 8-9 game because that would be a disaster to get the 1 seed and then have Iona come in. I would rather get the 2 seed, have Siena and Iona play each other so one of them is knocked out right away. And I'll tell you what, nothing would please me more than for Monmouth to get the 2 seed. I want the 1, but for Monmouth to get the 2 seed, Siena to play Iona, and for Iona to beat Siena in the first round. Nothing would please me more. And if you follow me on Twitter, I try not to get political or say anything stupid on there. I try to be pretty normal and pretty level-headed about things. But Siena Twitter is a rough place to be. Now, I'm not one to say all people of any kind of fan base or group of people is bad, but I will tell you the majority of people that I have seen on Siena's Twitter are disgusting, grotesque people. It's one thing to argue about basketball. It's another to argue about, COVID not being serious and, I don't care about this and these protocols are ridiculous and we should be out there. Who cares if somebody has COVID? And, they were attacking Guy at Iona, and I kind of went after the Siena fans and defended him a little bit. And I'm like, you know what? These people are part of the problem. I'm telling you right now, the people that don't want to believe this is real or that just the flu, I hope you don't know anybody that gets really sick from this because, you're going to be wishing you were a little more careful. And I'm not saying, stay inside of your house and don't go anywhere, but not for nothing. What I'm seeing from the Siena fan base is disgusting. And I never thought I would root for harder against a team than Iona. But Iona's not even on my radar now. I mean, Guy Faltico has been a great guy to us. And, I'm a Patino fan. And I know he's got some allegations over the years, but his coaching and the way he coaches, I really do admire it. And I just didn't like Clue. So, I hope he's healthy now, but I did not like Clueless at all. But I'll tell you what, Siena is number one on my hit list right now. I cannot stand their fan base. They're entitled for a team that has done nothing in the past decade, or about a decade. They are very entitled. We are the best team here. I'm like, well, you're really not. There's plenty of teams that have jumped you already. But I have no respect at all for Siena and their fans. I wish for their players they had a better fan base because they're a disgusting group of people for the most part that I've seen. I'm sure there's some good ones out there. I'm sure there's some good Siena people out there. I think it was Identity Thief MAAC on Twitter. Very good guy, it seems like. I've talked to him a little bit. But other than him, I've met very few people on Twitter from Siena that I have any interest in speaking to. I blocked a ton of people because I'm not dealing with stupidity. I'm just not in a position to argue with him anymore. So that's my rant about Siena. I hope they lose every game the rest of the season. There's no longer Iona for me on the shit list. It's Siena. I have no respect for any of them. I saw a lot of stuff on Super Bowl Sunday and this weekend and got into some arguments on there, in which I need to distance myself from. But yeah, they're a different breed up there. I'll tell you right now, they're a different breed. So let's see. To finish this up, you look at the stats for the season so far. Dion averaging 17.3 points per game, Pappas with 13.3, Malik with 11.7 and 5.5 rebounds a game. To me, those three are all MAAC players. Somebody was trying to argue with me on Twitter that there's no way Monmouth gets three guys. I don't know about that because Dion's going to be on there, that's for sure. Malik's stats say that he's going to be on there, so I don't know how you leave Malik off. And if Pappas has a couple strong weeks here and he bumps himself up to 15 points a game, I don't know how you leave him off either. So I think we're going to have three guys on all MAAC, which is something that hasn't happened in a while. So, those three guys are the anchors right now. But, overall, we're getting a complete production from this team up and down the roster, and that's what you need to win a championship. So it's starting to come together. Mom is scoring 77.9 points a game to 72.8 allowed. So they're averaging a 7-point win. They're shooting 38.5% from three. They're shooting 70% from the line. Like, those are all numbers that are pretty solid, and that's what you want to see from this team. So, things are going in the right direction for Monmouth. Looking into AC, the MAAC has announced that there are no fans in attendance for the tournament. I am looking into getting a press pass. I'm not sure if I'm going to go yet. But Governor Cuomo in New York just announced that 10% capacity is allowed for New York arenas that have 10,000 or more arenas. And at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, there's 10,500 seats for capacity there. So it'll be interesting to see if Murphy follows suit, which is kind of typical for him when Cuomo. Usually Cuomo announces something and Murphy's right behind him. So it'll be interesting to see if Murphy allows that. And then if he does, if Enzer and the league presidents even want to entertain the idea of fans in AC, because they've had so many problems with COVID this year with their protocols. And I'm not sure it's even going to be worth it to even try that. So who knows? We'll see what happens. But overall, this was a very successful weekend for Monmouth. Huge sweep at Manhattan. We've got Iona coming up in 2 weeks. So sometime early next week, Mark and Guy will drop the Monmouth Iona preview. And the weekend after, Mark and I will get together and do our Iona post game and Fairfield prep. All right. Thanks everybody for listening. Please be safe out there. Wear the mask, social distance. Please be safe, and we'll get out of this hopefully as soon as possible. Thanks for listening. Have a great night.